What's up? What's up? What is up? Another Friday, another opportunity to get together and record the Ball Hog Sports Talk. You see, I got on the shades. You see, I got on the hat. You had to switch to the straw hats uh, because we are officially getting close to summer. Today's episode is going by the title of Ballin on the Beach. I got on my shirt, Ballin on the Beach, and we got sports business and entertainment that is going to capture some of the concepts of Ballin on the Beach. So make sure you stay tuned, get locked in. If you do not know, let me let you get in on a little information. The Ball Hog Sports Talk is where sports, business, and entertainment collide. It's where a few businessmen get together and talk sports in an entertaining fashion. And we do it one way and one way only. That's rough, rugged, and raw. So please fasten your seatbelt. Please pour a nice tall mug of coffee. Please make sure that you are ready for the experience that is known as the Ball Hog Sports Talk. With no further ado, boys and girls, cats and rats, dogs and frogs, we about to hop in. So let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on. Let's go. Once again, it's on. As I step up to this microphone in the summer, baby. You know what it is, man. Ball on the beach, heading out to this tournament. A huge tournament down in South Florida. But it also brought us to that title, Ball on the Beach, brought us face to face with some of the sports business and entertainment stories for this week. Because the first one, before we even get in, breaking news from the NBA. You heard it here because we are the source of all real sports business and entertainment. Sports business and entertainment has collided in Charlotte for so long because the greatest of all times, as known to some people, other than the Big Flow Show, Michael Jordan owned the Hornets now, Bobcats, whatever they were, but Hornets now, and it has been reported that he is in the final stages of talks, and he's going to sell the Hornets, ending his 13-year reign as the majority stake owner in the Charlotte Hornets. What do y'all think about that, man? I'm going to start with you, Big Flow Show, because I know you're going to hate because you're a LeBron guy, but Michael Jordan, who has, I think, sort of been mid-grade at best, if not really bad at being an owner, is giving up his stake. I thought he was so competitive that he would only sell it when he finally was, air quotes, successful and had a winning team. They ain't no winning team. They are on a path towards nowhere. And MJ looked like he's tapping out. I'll start with you on this one, ETP. It's a breaking story.
Hold on a second, fam.
What?
You gonna pump fake? Am I just you trying to draw the defense?
Yo,
you told me you're gonna start with me, then you
talked so long you forgot who you were.
You started to start with you.
My bad. Big Flow Show. I'm starting with you on this one. I thought I knew. This was a draw. I said I wasn't starting with you.
Would you like this? Since Bobby can't decide, would you like to
go ahead? Big Flow Show. The floor is
like to go first. So I'll take the mic since that was the first one you offered it to. I didn't turn it down.
My bad.
I don't know how much he sold it for, but all I'm saying is that LeBron would have sold it for more. That's all I can say. He would have owned it longer.
That's why I didn't want to start with you.
You see, I'm saying you knew you're gonna get good commentary from me. I don't know. I think this has been a real lackluster part of Jordan's career. He's a great businessman in general. I mean, at the end of the day, this goes down as a great business move. It was unsuccessful, but he's going to make a ton of money like all owners do when they sell their teams and own it for a while. He's done so well with so much stuff. It's probably taken too much of his time. He's not any good at it. He hasn't had any, LaMelo's the only pick that any one of us thinks it's worked out, and it's starting to not work out like it was. So might as well get cash in and go do something else. I mean, I'm sure he's enjoying his life and doing whatever, but he's competitive, and at some point you tap out. He's never gonna get. This is beyond him. He's not. He's just not good. So he's never gonna become a good owner and make the thing work. So might as well just cash out and go golf some more.
He might as well be balling on the beach. Head to the beach.
On the beach.
Sell the stake, majority stake in the team, and go buy your own beach. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
ETP. I know from a business standpoint, he has been criticized, Michael Jordan being the he in that statement, and fairly so. I would also admit, although I'm a big Michael Jordan fan and well documented, do you think this decision further taints his legacy as an owner?
The decision to sell taints his legacy as an owner.
No, not the decision to sell, but the decision being in a time where the organization, the franchise, really hasn't done anything. It's not as though this is on an upward trajectory. It's not like he's selling it where, we all think the Hornets are like one free agent signee away from making it to the chip. And so the decision seems as though like a little bit of a tap out. And he's going to get paid for it, but at the same time, he's been criticized as being a poor owner. And is this an admission, selling it?
Maybe he needed the money. Maybe he needed the money.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's he spent I've said it on the show a couple times. My position on sports ownership is that there should be an expiration date on ownership if you're not able to bring a championship to the organization. So for me, I think that this is the right thing to do. I mean, it's the right thing to do. And for me, if the issue is legacy, but I'm walking away with 10x of what I put into an organization while mismanaging it and not able to see success, I'll take that hit on my legacy, because ultimately, he's already a billionaire. He's going to make $1 billion off this at least net. So at this stage, I don't think it matters. I don't think he was ever looking to build a legacy as a business person, but his legacy cemented. I mean, he makes over, I think, about $500 million annually off his name, image, and likeness, or the licensing of his name just with Nike alone. So this is just a one piece of his portfolio, and he hasn't. It's a question of, is it a worse representation of his legacy if he just continued to own the franchise and wasn't able to do anything for another 10 years? So cut bait, and he likes to fish. So I think it's the right decision.
No
other reason, he likes to fish.
Gone fishing. That is what we all say when someone is eliminated from the playoffs, and so it's ironic that on this day that we're going to discuss some balling on the beach, gone fishing, sports business entertainment commentary, that this would be the day that this breaking news breaks. And you heard it here first on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. But ownership when it comes to sports team is unique. If you ownership in any other business, if you sell it for 10x, you think, all right, man, shoot. That is the definition of success, that you built an organization that is now 10 times worth what you invested in it. But when it comes to sports, there's this other analysis and wins and losses. So while, yes, he's successful as a businessman, if you're selling it for 10x, I do think that this is going to ultimately be a part of the narrative, how, just like the Wizard years, if you want to say something that detracts away from the sycophants, the disciples of MJ, those who are very comfortably in MJ camp, I think this is going to be one of the things. He failed miserably as an owner when it comes to wins and losses and building a franchise that was on at least the upward swing when he sold it. This team is just as bad. I won't say just as bad. I mean, they've got some young pieces.
Well, he also dealt with a little bit of misfortune. They were on the upswing. Miles Bridges had off the court issues that basically terminated his career. LaMelo Ball's,
I would argue that Miles Bridges' wife or partner had more issues with that. But yes, in that incident, yes.
Yeah. LaMelo Ball's kind of following a similar trajectory as Lonzo Ball, season-ending injuries. So they were looking bright as a young core, but it fell apart pretty quickly. So you can't attribute any of that to the ownership, but at the end of the day, it's consistent with what they've been able to produce.
Yeah. The other reason, several reasons, but the main reason that Ballin on the Beach is our title. For those of you who are new to the ball hog experience, we like to put a lot into our titles. And the idea of gone fishing, the idea of now you can get your ticket to Cancun, is been prevalent in the NBA circles whenever a team is bounced from the playoffs. And so I stand here today on the 16th of June, on this particular Friday, as summer is right there. We about to snatch summer. We're going to snatch it right by its wig. We about to grab it. It's there. I stand here and admit that I was wrong. I said the Miami Heat, we're going to figure it out. Jimmy Buckets was going to lead us. We were going to be the best story of all times when it came to an 8 seed defeating all of these Goliaths in its route to the NBA championship. I was wrong because the Denver Nuggets, they were just a little too much. And when I say a little too much, I mean a lot too much. And they deserve their props. The Denver Nuggets, for those of you who live under a rock and do not know, the Denver Nuggets won their first championship in 47 years, first time in franchise history. So on the other end of the spectrum, we started off talking about the Hornets and their ineptitude and inability to really build something. You've got the Denver Nuggets that did it the right way. Right? The conversation is about how they built these pieces. They built their team off of these pieces. One being Jamal Murray and one being the Joker. So with really no direction whatsoever, but to appreciate and applaud what they were able to do, let's hop in, man. The NBA Finals was highlighted by one team, and it was the Denver Nuggets. Miami was able to steal a game in Denver, but at no point did it seem as though they had turned the tide and became the favorites to win that series. What do you guys think about the series? Let's talk about Joker. Let's talk about Jamal Murray. And then let's talk about whether or not this Denver Nuggets being young, this Denver Nuggets being a team that seems to be built the right way, this Denver Nuggets having an owner that is, again, the very opposite of Michael Jordan as an owner. He has won every place he's gone. And, shout out to him, right? He lacrosse, Major League Lacrosse. He's got an NHL team, the Avalanche. He's got an NFL team, the Rams. He's figured out how to win championships. And so this might be dangerous for the NBA, the Western Conference especially, but the entire NBA going forward. Is this beginning of what would be the new dynasty in the Western Conference? I'll start with you on it, ETP. Your feeling about the finals, and let's stick with Denver and give them their let's make sure we give them their flowers now. What say you?
So you want to focus on Denver just so that we don't.
We're gonna get to Miami. We're gonna get to Miami. I'm not gonna do that. I ain't gonna cop out. I mean, I'm not excited about it, but we are gonna do it. We're gonna get to Miami. Let's start with Denver. Let's give them their props before I start talking about how bad the refs were and they stole it from Miami. Let's give them their props.
Yeah. So I mean, Denver, they were unsung going into it. Nobody really. I mean, all of the pundits and all of the media coverage, Denver really wasn't. They were the 1 seed, probably from jump of the regular season. They basically held on to that 1 seed all throughout the season. They had, Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray coming off injuries over the past couple seasons, so they were fully stocked. I don't see them. I mean, Joker is essentially a one-man team for the most part, can, fill up every stat. I mean, the idea that he led the entire league in the postseason in points, rebounds, and assists, that's never been done. It's obviously, I mean, he's one of one, and he's not flashy about it. He just makes the right decision at the right time every time for the most part. And I don't really see them changing, changing their progression. I see them very, very plausibly back to back, maybe even a three-peat. They've got all their core pieces in terms of contracts. Everybody, I think, that has been instrumental in terms of main roles is locked up contract wise until at least 2025, maybe even 2026. Obviously, the role players like KCP and Brown and the other Brown may or may not be around, but the core starters and the core of the group is locked in contractually, and they're all young. They're all in their mid to late 20s.
The rookie Brown, like, he delivered, man. Bruce Brown delivered too, but you got a guy on a rookie contract that comes in and impacts the series after really being average all season.
Yeah, and he won
man,
three high school state titles, a national championship in Kansas, and now he's an NBA champion. So he's
that's like a lucky dude. You want to just pull him on your team just because he brings good things.
Yeah, I mean I don't know of anybody else like Kareem and Trevor Lawrence. Maybe I don't know, but
Trevor Lawrence ain't won no Super Bowl yet though.
And that's not coming.
He won on every ain't close.
So he beat Trevor Lawrence to the punch.
Ain't that crazy? It's worth mentioning because this Ringer Top 125 in the NBA list came out, and it's created quite the controversy, quite the spark. But it's worth mentioning that number one on that list was not this year's NBA MVP, Joel Embiid, but it was this year's NBA Finals MVP and the Joker. And so I bring that up. We'll get back to that top 125 list because Jimmy Butler was also in that Ringer 125. And because I'm a man of my word, we are going to come and talk about the Heat. But let's talk about the number one player on that list, the Joker. Because the Joker in this NBA Finals, I think he's now he's a two-time MVP, so he's already a household name. But I just think that we never really appreciated, we being the general fan, never really appreciated just how dominant he is. We being guys that watch a lot of basketball, but still don't get to watch him a lot because Denver's just not a primetime team. Despite the fact that they were the number one seed in the West, I would bet if we compared the number of national games that they had versus the Lakers, it wouldn't even be close. So this is really the first taste of the entire world, or we can just stick to the U.S., the entire country, but indeed the entire world because, he's Eastern European, but the entire country stopped what they were doing and watched the Joker. And damn, he delivered. He delivered.
I think shame on Perkins for shaming the writers into giving Joel Embiid the MVP because I don't watch a ton of regular season basketball season so long. I watch spots here and there, whoever's playing LeBron. And I don't see how the hell Embiid beat him for when you look at the playoffs,
I think Embiid got robbed last year. I think Embiid should have won it last year. Joker should have won it this year. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
I just think that the way that the Joker plays, it's not even a comparison right now. I mean, in the playoffs when it matters, it's not even a comparison. I mean, Embiid is okay in the playoffs, but Joker's just a killer. Even his bad games, you think he's a silent game, and he had like 30. Like, maybe we had to talk about the fact that they held him to 4 assists. Like
he had 41 points that game or something like that.
And he only had 4 assists. And maybe, dude, we have people over here getting called misogynistic because they couldn't understand the questions. Coaches getting called accused of stuff because this dude is, we haven't really seen somebody who has his skill set with his body style.
Yeah.
So Jokic is a goon right now, not to mess with. You asked what this is the start of a dynasty. I think that if Jamal Murray doesn't blow his knee out, that we may already be in the middle of a dynasty.
Fair. Very fair.
What I mean?
I can't deny that because Jamal Murray also delivered. Let's be honest. At any point, they were a two-head juggernaut. Like that pick and roll game was indefensible. You couldn't defend it with a zone. You couldn't defend it in man. If you got caught with the wrong player that was now on Joker, it's just they are a juggernaut. And I would agree if Jamal Murray doesn't get hurt, this is their second championship, not their first.
At least.
Maybe. I mean, that's just the Warriors were champions last year. The year before that was it Milwaukee.
Milwaukee won their
It's
first.
possible. I
Milwaukee's
mean,
one
the
where
way
I think
they
He
dominated.
blew his knee out the Milwaukee year, right?
Milwaukee year. Yeah.
No, that was the bubble. Didn't he get hurt in the bubble?
No, I think he got hurt in the Milwaukee year.
Oh, was
so
it
the
the
year
bubble?
after the bubble. All of these years, COVID just messed up.
COVID
all
messes
the
up your memory. Yeah, I
appreciation
always say
stuff.
add a year to your memory.
Yeah,
Whatever
seriously.
it was, though, I don't know where the other pieces were, but because they didn't have
But Porter
What's the
Jr.
big
was
light-skinned
injured
Porter,
most
was
of
he
that
there?
as well.
Yeah.
He played
So-
this year. He wasn't, but he did get hurt. Yeah, he was hurt. I think he was in a rookie contract when he got hurt. But
Yeah, he didn't play coming out. I mean, he was the player. He was the top prospect. He was the most talked about. He was high school player of the year, McDonald's All-American MVP, but he had back issues and then wasn't able to play. And then he had another back surgery after he got into the league, and it derailed a little bit, and now he's back.
and he's probably,
These dudes are
of
gold.
all of the young talent that they have on that team, he was probably the most underwhelming throughout the series. I mean, he's big, he can shoot, but he's a piece that they could trade. Like, that's how good that team is. I'm looking at that team, I'm like, whoa, that's a juggernaut. So I wouldn't be surprised.
They're basically Golden State with a better point guard, with a better creator, with Joker being a better creator than Steph is. Like, as far as, distributing the ball to other people and getting people involved, that's the same team. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like, I mean, it's not even like Steph. It's like Draymond, who can score 1 million points and is a better facilitator.
Steph and Draymond together, and he's taller.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, someone called Joker. They said I can't remember who they said. He scores like some great. I can't remember who it was. I'm going to mess it up by not remembering that part. But they said he passes like magic. He hits the board like Tim Duncan. And he can shoot percentage-wise.
He does
like Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the score was like, it was some, like maybe LeBron. It was some crazy. And you think about it, he has all of those facets of his game.
It was Richard Jefferson. I think you're talking about Richard Jefferson, and he was talking about, it was like Giannis's defensive prowess, Tim Duncan's rebounding. I think Shaq's scoring when they won like one of the championships with the Lakers. And what was the other one? And the Magic Johnson passing. And he was basically like on par or better statistically in every single comparison.
He D'd up AD so nasty.
He D'd up who?
Anthony Davis couldn't do shit against him. He scored a lot when he wasn't getting covered by Joker. But when it was one-on-one with the Joker, he blocked the shot or made him miss almost every time. I hated to admit it. But he was killing him. And he doesn't look like he's an athletic dude. He
is not an athletic dude. What he has proven is his skill can trump athleticism.
But you also, I mean, so the athleticism is like, he doesn't jump that high.
He's not.
Well, I've never seen him tired, right? Like, he looks like he shouldn't be able to last.
They said he couldn't hold.
He's in shape.
Like,
he's always running. He's always down the court.
They said he couldn't hold a plank for 10 seconds. And then he worked on his body, and now he's in great shape. So anybody can get great shape. Being in good shape and being an athlete are not synonymous. I mean, you can work your way into being in good shape. He knows how to use his body. He's tall. Is he quite 7 feet, or is he like 6'11"?
I think he's listed at 6'11".
6'11". So he's not quite there, but he's got long arms. He positions his body so it doesn't look like anyone ever gets near his shot. Right? He finds a way to just move. He does it smooth. The thing about it is, I've never seen anybody play as calmly as he plays the whole time. He'll get the ball in the pick and roll, and he will turn, and he can put it into a shot or dump it to somebody as if the game, like it's walkthrough pace. It's like he's going through a walkthrough.
He'll get a rebound and push the pace, and you're thinking, I'm thinking like, oh, just steal the ball from behind, but he doesn't get caught. He's just fast enough, right? He's just shifty enough. He can jump just high enough to get the ball up and get a shot. And anytime the ball hits the rim, when Joker shoots it, it's going to find its way into that net. It bounces. He has the best shooter's touch of any shooter I've ever seen. And so this ringer list, top 125, has him as number 1. It has Stephen Curry as number 2, the Greek Freak Giannis number 3, Kevin Durant number 4, Joel Embiid number 5. All right, that's top 5. 6 through 10 is Jason Tatum. 7 is Luka Doncic. 8 is Kawhi Leonard. 9, we're going to skip 9. I'll come back. 10 is Devin Booker. 9 is Jimmy Buckets. Because on the other side of that NBA Finals was a team led by, inspired by, and let's be honest, carried by Jimmy Buckets. And so as we rightly give the Denver Nuggets their flowers, celebrate their first championship, give props and salute to an owner that's figured out how to win in almost every league, including Major League Lacrosse. At the same time, we got to put the Miami Heat in the hot seat. I did not think that we would be the victim of a gentleman's sweep. And technically, I mean, in the most technical terms, it's a gentleman's sweep. But when you win game 2.
Stop.
All right, so I ain't going to try to argue that. I tried to convince them that it wasn't. I tried to say that
you were trying to convince you.
I tried to say the gentleman's sweep is when you're up 3-0 and you don't get the sweep and they steal one and then you sweep them in the 5th game. That's what I tried to say. But in the most technical terms, 4-1 is gentleman's sweep. But the Miami Heat fought in game 5. They fought in game 5. It was a great game. It came down to one possession. And then Jimmy Buckets has 2 very bad possessions. One being we're down 1, and he had several bad turnovers throughout the game. He was not very aggressive. He only had 8 points going into the 4th quarter when he has that 12-point run where he scores 12 straight. So he gets to 20, and I guess it looks better on the stat sheet. But if you watch the game, Jimmy Buckets looked out of sorts. Jimmy Buckets looked tentative. Jimmy Buckets looked discombobulated. Jimmy Buckets looked overwhelmed by the moment. And it's tough to say that because I am on the Jimmy Buckets train. I'm in the fan club now after watching this NBA playoff run. But damn, it didn't end well. And now Jimmy Buckets is on this ringer, top 125, as the number 9 person. And so it's only fair, just like we do with LeBron, just like we do with, you name it, all of our greats, it's time for us to talk Jimmy. What did y'all see? Because the other end of that great story and them winning first in the franchise was a team that was this close, but yet so far. And Jimmy Buckets was the captain of the come up short crew.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was he carried them for the most part all the way to the finals. So definitely fatigue could have been a part of it. But I think what a lot of the narrative or the story that's not being told, because the assumption is, especially in the early, rounds of the playoffs, the Nuggets were just crushing offensively. Like they didn't need to play defense. They were just like, we'll just score more than you. We will score faster and we will score more. And we don't care if you score on the other end. We're going to just continue to run the numbers up and we're just going to, by brute force, offensively beat you. But in the finals, a lot of the story that's not told is how effective defensively the Nuggets were, especially in the last game.
Aaron Gordon
is a terrible matchup for Jimmy Butler. And while you expect Jimmy to be able to get his numbers, it's a testament to the defense of the Denver Nuggets. So I don't necessarily want to say he disappeared by downplaying how effectively the Nuggets played defensively. Obviously, greats are supposed to rise above their opposition regardless and do what they need to do, but he was neutralized the entire series. And
they played team defense. Aaron Gordon played great on-ball defense, but their rotations and their helps were great. They played great team defense. And look, you're not getting second chance shots. We got out-rebounded by everybody, but Denver did a good job of making sure that if you get a shot and you miss it, they got a possession. They're not giving up that rebound. Big Flow Show. I was celebrating Jimmy. I was ready to crown him as, the the absolute man with a plan when it comes to putting a team on your back and getting them to heights that they could have never gotten without you. He was, and we all celebrate the Allen Iverson run to the finals with the Sixers, with the crew of no names. And they got one game against the Lakers when he stepped over Tyronn Lue. This was going to trump it for me because of who they had to beat on the way to the finals and the fact that they were an 8 seed. And the buildup was phenomenal. And Jimmy Buckets and the Pips did not deliver. 7 undrafted players on that Miami Heat team. Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley have been celebrated for what they've been able to do in getting that roster to perform the way it did. But the buildup was great. And then we got there, and the letdown was just as great, especially when it came to Jimmy Buckets. What say you?
You know, when I watched Jimmy in earlier series and some of the things he did, you start getting so mad. Like, man, he started off in Chicago, and how the hell did we let this guy get out of here? And you start to scratch your head, like, what's going on? You know, like really looking at yourself in the mirror, like we could have had this. And then you see games like he had and things he did. You start realizing that how does he end up wearing his welcome out everywhere that he goes? When he's capable of such greatness as he is, he ends up going to places and that's really, if you look back at Jimmy, that's who he is. Like, he didn't make the All-Star team this year. You know what I mean? Like, he has great streaks and great games, and then something happens in his head, and I don't know what kind of mental scars he has from his upbringing, but something happens and he ends up not being able to just, I don't know, he goes to it. That's the dark place, and he's dark Jimmy, and he's not Jimmy that you want. So you watch him some of this season, and you think this is the second best player in the finals right now for a lot of games. Only person that did better than him that stood out more is the Joker. But then he just falls asleep, and I guess that has to be it. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to give him the fatigue factor. It's just he's a head.
He did look tired. I'm not. Look, everybody was tired. I can't stand him. He hurt his toe. Everybody's hurt in the finals. Everybody's tired. But he did look extremely tired. I'll give him that, but only just to mention it, not as a real explanation for why you don't deliver in a closeout game. You're about to be eliminated.
Joker was tired too.
But also, if there's no second option, I mean, Kyle Lowry showed up to try to be that second option. Bam was, sparks. But if there's no Pippen, Jordan's not winning finals because you need some type of alternative. Like, you can't just by brute force in the NBA finals against a team that has swarming defense, that has, that is bigger than you at every position, taller.
Every position. Yeah.
It's without a second option, you're basically going to be neutralized. And at that point, he might have even been able to get 40, 50 points, but he would have been the only one scoring. So they basically attacked him, and nobody else was able to really deliver any additional scoring. Like, they were talking about Tyler Hero coming back in game 5 and maybe giving them a scoring burst, but nobody else was delivering.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when Max Strus and you got these guys, Vincent, and I mean, they're just guys. So as much as we celebrated in the lead up that you got 7 undrafted players on this roster, the truth of the matter is when you're going up against a team like Denver that, they've done it the right way. They've built it with young talent, and they're clicking on all cylinders. Empty possessions, like Vincent threw a turnover when we had a chance to go up. The empty possessions, that those small mistakes that some of the fringe players make, and Vincent's probably no longer a fringe player, but it comes back to bite you. So Jimmy Butler did say something before game 5 when the Miami Heat were eliminated in a gentleman's sweep. He did say something about, Hall of Fame conversation came up. He's like, yeah, well, if I'm inducted to the Hall of Fame, I probably won't even accept it. And I think that just as attractive as his peculiar, is that a good way to describe him? His peculiar personality is just as attractive as it is at times. It could be just as unattractive. And I think that's what leads to him being persona non grata at different times, whether it be in Chicago, whether it be in Philadelphia, whether it be in Miami. Let's not forget him and Haslam almost went to blows, and him and Eric Spoelstra. So, you got to take the good with the bad when it comes with a guy like that. But to see him on this ringer list, top 25 at number 9 in this moment just makes us sort of deal with the reality that he came up very small in the biggest moment. But we going to be all right because rumor has it we getting some help. Jimmy going to have some help. Look, Miami Heat, you outkicked your coverage. As a number 8 seed, had, done the unthinkable and upset Milwaukee, done the unthinkable and the Knicks fan, but done the unthinkable and upset Boston after giving up a 3-0 lead and seemed to be destined to have the most historic collapse in all of basketball. You figure out a way to win that. I think that they just ran out of bullets and, physically tired hand. I just think psychologically and mentally, they couldn't overcome Joker. So shout out to Joker and shout out to Serbia, man. All of Serbia celebrate. You know you have arrived when your face at 6'11" is on the entire side of the biggest building in the most populated city of a country. That's what kind of love they got for Joker. And they should, because the Joker is here to stay. He is an unbelievable superstar. And I think that NBA coaches are going to really struggle figuring out how to defend him, a la Eric Spoelstra. But fill in the blank with any NBA coach, how do you defend somebody like that? So shout out to Joker. Shout out to Serbia. And then guess what? Serbia wasn't done there. This week, a different is Djokovic, and it's spelled different, but a different Serbian made history by winning the French Open. Djokovic won the French Open, and in doing so, he has the most Grand Slam wins of any male or female tennis player. And only the Ball Hawk Sports Talk can you get that transition. We went NBA Finals, we went Serbia, and we went right to the French Open and talked about the Djokovic being the all-time leader in Grand Slam wins. Only in the Ball Hawk Sports Talk can you get that type of diversity on sports, business, and entertainment. But I digress. I didn't watch the French Open, but I know that he is dominant and has dominated, evidenced by the 23 Grand Slam wins. I did want to hop into, before we move too far, I did want to hop into the fact that I am balling on the beach. Going down to Ballin on the beach, going down to Miami. I wanted to admit that Miami was on the cusp of being Sports Central.
And then they played the games.
It was on the cusp.
And now they're just on the beach.
It was on the cusp because we had not one, but 2 number 8 seeds.
And missed both free throws.
We had not one but 2 teams that were upsetting all of these higher seeded teams. We had not one but 2 teams that had to go through Boston as the 8th seed and come out victorious.
Ooh, okay. I see where you did that. I see what you did there.
And then, both of them got the damn gentleman's suite.
Both of them.
Both of them. Not one, but both of them. If it ain't bad enough that my Miami Heat disappointed me, after I came on this show and I guarantee we was going to win this championship, then the doggone Florida Panthers.
Sunrise Panthers.
And the only win that they got was this thriller overtime. So it definitely was a gentleman's sweep. The Vegas Golden Knights indeed won the Stanley Cup final. And Miami, with all of the buildup, with all of the possibility, is left with wah. But luckily, it's a summer city, so we're going to party anyway. We're going to party even in defeat. How about that? And just to celebrate, again, our diversity, you done heard NBA. You done heard French Open. You done heard NHL. We done talked about Major League Lacrosse. We snuck that in there. Show me another sports program that's doing that, man. Did any of y'all get a chance to see any of the Stanley Cup finals? NHL is fun to watch. It's challenging because it's on at the same time as NBA. So I'll see highlights, but I don't watch games. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it. I will admit that watching an NHL game at the speed of it and the fact that they get busy, they thump. And when they do decide to have a disagreement that escalates to a fight, the referee moves his little happy butt out the way and they get to throwing hands. So I will admit that I need to watch more NHL. I didn't watch any of the Stanley Cup because of NBA Finals.
I was going to watch Game 6, but then.
You just a hater, bro. You ain't got to do with teams like that, man.
Something came up. Something came up.
Couldn't watch Game 6. NHL is also done. We are now getting into this doggone. So Miami Heat had to go home. They balling on the beach. The Florida Panthers had to go home. They gone fishing. They balling on the beach.
Do you have a second place parade for both of them together? Like a combined parade? Like at least like a pool party.
We should do a parade. That's a great idea. Almost
for second place
parade. Yeah. Everybody gets a trophy parade. That's what we should call it.
LeBron will be the MC. It'll be called the LeBron James Award. See, I could do that. I could do that.
But I will say this about Miami, man. It's just we were so close, but now everybody's gotta go ball on the beach. And as sports fans, we are in this very interesting time of the year. If you don't watch Major League Baseball, I mean, because everything's coming to an end. The NCAA track finals, the doggone, the world college World Series, softball, everything's coming to an end. So collegiate sports are done. They're in the lull. They are there. It's summer. The NBA is over. NHL is over. If you don't watch baseball, right, and we have tried to introduce our fans, the Ball Hog Sports Talk family, we've introduced you to this wonderful asset called WNBA. But we're at that lull right now, man. What are we thinking in terms of sports content for the next month or two? What y'all think? What are we watching here? I'm doing WNBA.
I'm thinking about maybe starting a weight loss challenge. Both y'all skinny, so I can beat y'all.
Can we make it the Ball Hog Sports Talk weight loss challenge?
Something
I need
like
the games.
We just do live weigh-ins every 6 weeks.
But we all gonna be balling on the beach as fans. We got our feet up. We are searching for that thrill. And everyone always says, man, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Damn, I'm gonna miss this NBA season, man.
I know.
That was in addition to my team losing, in addition to it being the gentleman's sweep, in addition to me having to come on this platform, look right in the face and say I was wrong. The biggest disappointment is that now we just left with nothing, man. We left holding the bag. So for those in the Ball Hog Sports Talk universe, please let us know what we should be watching. And didn't the slap thing get discontinued? Did they discontinue that yet?
I don't. You know, it's funny you say that. I heard it was off, but then I keep seeing highlights and stuff.
I mean, people gonna keep showing highlights. People getting slapped, but
they're gonna have bootleg leagues running out the back of clubs and stuff. Come over here and slap the hell out of somebody. Slap offs.
I
love that show.
Let's get into, before we get out of here for the day, man. Let's get into the NFL, because the leap that I wanted to make and didn't necessarily make it, so I'm just going to do it my own way. Is we're talking about balling on the beach, man, and there are a lot of NFL running backs that are on beaches right now without a job. And if you look at this list that I'm going to rattle off, all but one are in their 20s. To reconcile that with, we started our youth football journey going after another national championship. That's right, New Jersey Dark Knights in the building. If you reconcile that with the youth level and a high school level, everybody wants to play running back. But when it comes to the NFL and their value, how they value, or the opposite, how they don't value the running back position, is becoming clearer and clearer that that's not where you want to be. It's not really a long-term solution as an NFL career. We know NFL means not for long in general. The careers are very short, but when it comes to the running back position, they're even shorter. This list includes Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, Myles Gaskin, Darrell Williams, Kenyon Drake, and then the only one that is in his 30s, Melvin Gordon. Look at those 8 names. Think of the productivity. Think of how when you hear those names, you think, oh, yeah, they can help a team out. And they're all balling on the beach with their feet up, waiting to be called. Is there something about I know the evolution of the game in the NFL is a lot more passive, but these are all good backs that don't have a job right now. What does that say about the league in general, the position, and what does it mean for the future of the position? Because I'm assuming that the same way we're talking about it, that overzealous helicopter football dad is starting to recognize that that position has some limitations.
I think there's 2 things that happen. One, the 7-on-7 popularity that we're starting to see. Running backs, there's no place for a running back at 7-on-7. So while everybody's doing the spring league, all these athletes are going out there and they're catching passes and they're thinking, this ain't so bad. You know, I could catch the ball and be at 20 yards, or I can run through 11 people and juke one of them twice to get to the same yardage. I like this little catch I'm doing. So you're getting a lot of guys that were running backs that are learning how to catch, because used to be a lot of running backs couldn't catch the ball, right? Now they're getting better at catching. They're saying, I like this receiver thing starts to work out. And 2, I mean, we're softening up this sport and we're making it, you know, more and more into a touch football league or whatever, not as much hitting and stuff. And running backs maintains the most dangerous position on the field, the most the most beat up position out there. So they get these guys to come in. You know, I once had back when I was doing the Big Flow show more often, I had Jerome Bettis on, and I said, you know, have we devalued the position? And he said, no, the position is super valuable. He said, it's just not a lot of people playing running back anymore, because all the guys who were running backs that would have been the monster running backs before are playing linebacker now, because the linebacker position has become that much more athletic. Right. So he's like, if I was coming out of high school right now, I'd probably be a linebacker, because that's where the value is and what we're trying to go do. So he said there's very few offenses in college that are running a true pro style offense where you have an all-purpose back. So you got a running back that can catch one out the backfield, got a guy who can give you the scat on this down, that down. So they're doing it by committee as opposed to having that feature back. So the fact that you're doing it by committee, there's an abundance of people that can give you a few good years as a committee. That's why, you know, on that list that you named, I'll be honest, some of them I haven't heard of, right? Because growing up for us, you could name all the top running backs in the NFL because they were all the stars of the league. Now there's 2 or 3 names on that list where I'm like, who's that? Because they got guys that come in and they can give you a spell. Contract comes up, they get rid of them, they bring another young guy in, and before you get a chance to miss them, you don't see a drop off in production because they're only asking running backs to do certain things. They're not asking them to be the all-purpose back that they did in the past. So you know, why take a chance to concussion when you can go out there and catch a pass and step out of bounds?
There's this business term, diminishing value, and it looks as though when it comes to the running back position, it is the quintessential example of diminishing value. ETP, any thoughts on the running back position and where it stands? All of these guys, when you rattle off the names, and you're right, I mean, these aren't household names, but they're all names that, from a fantasy football perspective, you know, these guys are on the beach waiting to be called. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've seen progressing probably over the past, I don't know, 7 to 10 years, where you have just shortened careers, given all the wear and tear, given all of the impact and, you know, collisions that come with the position, and then teams go into having 2 backs, you know, that were rotational instead of one main back. There's no such thing as a fullback anymore. So that made it even, you know, more taxing on running backs because they don't have lead blockers. So the league, I mean, they wanted a receiver instead of a lead blocker. So it's just continuously devalued the need and the expectation of the ground game. So I'm not surprised by it. It is pretty crazy that, you know, the amount of emphasis that's now on the air attack, I wonder if we'll kind of see a swing back when this just becomes essentially a passing, 100% passing league. Does that become boring and there's no balance? But, you're going to have players like your Christian McCaffreys and others like that, where if you're going to play running back, you have to be a Swiss Army knife versus just being a running back. So the money goes where the people want to see the action, and clearly deep ball and passing is where it's at and where the league has gone. But it's crazy to see that what was once a critical element of the offense is now kind of a secondary consideration.
Yeah, and we should have all listened. We should have all seen the foreshadowing of the great philosopher Debo. Who? Debo Samuels never wanted to be called a running back. He called himself a wide back. I'm a wide receiver and a running back. And I think in a way he was foreshadowing where the value of that position really was. So interesting time. Look, we might be this might be the first time ever. But we started off with breaking news talking about Michael Jordan. We got another breaking news moment right here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Ja Morant's fate has been decided. Ja Morant has been handed his suspension. He is suspended for the first 25 games of the season. He will be balling on the beach, feet up, chilling for 25 games. Do you think the commissioner, Adam Silver, and I'm assuming that the NBA Players Association will appeal and there'll be a process. So it's not the last we've heard of it. We're going to hear a million things about it. But the first time you heard it was here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Don't you forget. I mean, that's why you should like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. We gave you not one, but two breaking news stories in the same doggone episode. Ja Morant, ball on the beach, 25 games. Do we think that is excessive? Let's be quick with this one because we're going to take it home. And we got to get some more details about how they got there. It sounded like the NBA had a lot more information than the, gossip websites. It sounded like they really did some research here and some investigatory work to get to the 25 games. Did they get it right? I'll start with you on this one, ETP. 25 games, bro. That's a lot of games. I ain't no mathematician or nothing like that, but that's a lot of games. 25 over 82, that's more than a fourth. What say you?
That's heavy math for a Friday morning. So I'm surprised that they did it. What I thought was they were just going to push it to after the All-Star break. Like, get through the first half of the season, get to the All-Star break, build all this excitement, not make any sideshow or any off-court news about any of this. Mm-hmm. So I just thought they would just say, oh, business as usual. We're going to build up excitement around the league and get to the All-Star break, and then we'll come back and address this insanity in regards to Ja Morant. But right. So I don't know if it's more or less. I just think from a business standpoint, it just would have been easier from a PR and publicity angle where they just wouldn't have had to talk about Ja Morant coming back or anything until after the All-Star break, when people really start paying attention to basketball, because while football is going on, there's not really a lot of, the big interest comes with Christmas Day and then the
that's interesting. I wonder
the All-Star break.
How many games in this Christmas?
What's that?
I wonder how many games in the Christmas games are.
Yeah, it's probably 30. Maybe that was a consideration, having him back ready
30?
for Christmas.
You think it's 30 before Christmas?
Well, I mean, no, maybe what, like 20?
That's right. That's probably right at the I don't know if you're gonna make Christmas. That's about right. I mean, again, I ain't no mathematician or nothing like that. That's about the time. I don't know. Great question, but
I think it came down to this. JJ Redick probably said it best for him. He didn't really break the law. And so now you got to go and think of the people that have been suspended in the past for breaking the law. And then you start thinking, okay, well, even though what he's doing is more damning in some ways, and some of the laws broken, just from an image standpoint, and they were trying to give this guy the keys and trying to make him, it's the pseudo face. Obviously the Joker's going to be the face for a second, but he was taking over, as one of the faces of the league. He didn't break the law, so can you suspend him as long as
break the law? We ain't playing. Break the law. We ain't playing. I'm just sorry. That's a Memphis song. I'm sorry. That was sometimes I have outbursts.
You're gonna be at the beach pretty soon. You got beach mind going. So I think for that, he should be happy. The fake gun story, maybe that helped out a little bit. They couldn't prove it was.
They should have said that at the outset. If you're gonna say it's fake, say it right away. But anyway.
He said it before the sentence came out. So at the end of the day, he didn't quite break the law. He just got on everybody's nerves a lot, like really a lot. Everybody was like, "What? Come on, man." So 25 games is about right. And a short leash. He might have to come with a finger wave, like get the dreads out, at least take the little color bead out his head. Come in here with a new, he might
new image,
a bow tie at the game, wear a bow tie, something.
Do something like this.
Something, man. He got to change his image a little bit.
Look, I will say this, man, because some people are gonna say he got off light, and then there's gonna be a cadre of people, especially probably Memphis fans, that say, "Why would you get 25 games for a fake gun?" They're probably believing it, or even if it was a real gun and he is licensed to carry, why would you get 25 games? He didn't break the law. So I think that this balance that Adam Silver and NBA did is when no one's happy, then you probably got it right. But my question to John Morant is, because we started with the number one player on that ringer list is Joker. And I don't know where John Morant is. We didn't go as far down to look where he was at on the list. But the Joker said something after that game. He basically was like, he treated his business as usual. He said, anyone who says they love their job, they're lying. He was more excited, not about the parade, but getting home to Serbia. He just wants to do his job. And while we didn't make a big deal when the Joker said it, when I think of his statement in this moment, as we talk about John Morant, there's John Morant, the player, and then John Morant, the person, separate. He just, for him, basketball is just his job. For us, we see it as much more. For the owner, we see it, not we, because I'm not an owner, but I would imagine owners see it as a much more than just doing his job. And now, this story, you're suspended for 25 games, doing something on your own time with your own friends in your own car with your own gun, be fake or real. You didn't break a law, and it's impacting your job. And so it's sort of this mix of whatever, church and state, job and personal, that I'm not certain whether or not we're going too far. Do I think John Morant is an idiot for allowing another video of him to be released, filmed by his friend on live in his own car? Yeah, I think he's an idiot. Do I think that rises to the level of losing out on 25 paychecks and impacting his team's ultimate success throughout the season? I'm not certain. But he will be balling on the beach for 25 games. Let's leave it there. There'll be a lot more to talk about when it comes to John Morant.
Yeah.
Let's get home.
Just to give you the quick, they're about like at 40 games by Christmas, 35 to 40 games.
Really?
Yeah.
Man,
October is like 12, 15 in November, another 15 in December, give or take.
Yes,
yeah.
Wow. All right, so they'll be back opportunity to cash in on Ja in the holidays.
Yeah. Holiday cheer. Let's go home with our ball hog spots like moments. You know the rules, man. We all are ball hogs in our own way, so we're gonna give you the ball. We're gonna put you in center court, let you do your thing. Any topic from sports, business, entertainment that you like to share. We give you the ball hog spotlight moment. We'll start with who wants to go first today. How about that? I'll do it that way, Big Flo, since you
see how we doing. And, also, why not start with me? So
I'll start with you. You got the ball.
NBA draft coming up next Thursday. Everybody's looking at Wimby or whatever you want to call the dude from France, the French guy, the little tall, skinny French dude.
I'm just gonna call him Victor. That's how I'm gonna get
Victor.
around it.
We're gonna call him Victor. Just I don't know. Everybody still say out. I still think he's a little too light in the ass. I think you look on one side, you see the Joker. He's 6'11". He's got a lot of girth to him, and he can bully his way around and do whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying Victor will never be good, but I think it's going to be about 4 or 5 seasons before he starts to make impact. I think he's going to come in here and be a little skinny fella, and they're going to beat him up.
If it takes 4 or 5 seasons and he gets beat up, then he's a bust. Because they saying that he might be the best prospect since LeBron James. Those are very lofty expectations, man. When you get mentioned,
was grown coming out of high school.
He was grown.
What are you saying? Since LeBron James, who was a bigger prospect after LeBron? Like, you can be the biggest prospect since LeBron and argue if he's as big, but there's no other prospect that has come out.
Wait, what you call? Hold on. Durant came out after LeBron.
Kevin Durant went to
he wasn't.
He
was drafted second.
Texas. He got drafted second. Yeah, but I'll say this.
Greg Oden.
You're right, E, but mentioning LeBron James in the same sentence just inherently puts this extra expectation on you, right? Like, they're saying it in order to put gas on the fire. And so the gas is on the fire when you start saying LeBron James. That's all I'm saying. And you're right. Like, it hasn't been, I don't think that if it takes him 4 or 5 years, he's a bust compared to the expectation.
4 or 5 years to do what?
To become a dominant player in the NBA. At 7'4" with guard skills.
He gets on creatine or something.
So he needs to be what in All NBA in the first as a rookie.
I think he needs to at least be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. I think within 2 or 3 years,
he has to win the Rookie of the Year.
He has to win Rookie of the Year within 2 to 3 years. When they have that top 25 list, he has to come out ahead of Wiggins, and then he has to come through lead the team to the playoff series. At least second round, third round is the playoff, or he's a bust.
I was going to point out where Wiggins was on that list, and I stopped myself.
I'm just saying that's a good limit test. You got to be better than the worst superstar in the NBA.
And sometimes, boy, your friends, you know how to push everybody.
E, come on, E, come talk. You fine, E? Come on, E.
That's a sound assessment, I think.
Better than the worst superstar in the NBA, at least, right?
Yeah, I'm not messing with you.
That's fair.
Yo, so Austin Reeves.
Austin
Reeves has a signature sneaker. Andrew Wiggins does not.
Austin Reeves has a signature sneaker. Was it Vans?
He just signed a signature shoe deal with a Chinese company. I forget the name of it. I think it's Goriger, or I'm not sure the name of it. But Austin Reeves has a signature sneaker. Andrew Wiggins, superstar.
Andrew Wiggins got his own flip flop.
Andrew Wiggins, yo,
you got
how your people call my people? Let's get you a shoe, bro. Let's get you a shoe. All right, so that's your ball hog spotlight moment. The ball goes to you, ETP. You got the ball at half court, man. All eyes on you. Ball hog this thing, man. What you got for us from Sports Business Entertainment?
So just additional mourning for the city of Oakland. They're basically at the point of losing every major sports franchise that they've ever hosted, with the Oakland A's looking to move to Las Vegas. I guess they just got approved for the stadium in Las Vegas. So it's a foregone conclusion that they're relocating. The fans are not happy about it. Obviously, they just staged what is called a reverse boycott, which is essentially everybody trying to buy as many tickets and show up to the stadium in force and show numbers of what they could do. Essentially, for the past few years after the A's made the playoffs in, I think, 2019, 2020, the ownership has kind of been mismanaging either intentionally or unintentionally, and traded away or moved away from a lot of their star talent. They weren't able to be successful. They raised the prices of tickets in the process, and so the fan base became less fan-like, and their attendance was down, and then they used that to justify why they are now looking to relocate to Las Vegas. But the fan base staged a reverse boycott. About 30,000 people were in attendance. About 7,000 of them wore shirts that said sell, instructing the ownership to sell to another owner so that they can stay in Oakland, but doesn't look like that's going to happen.
when you come to Ball Hawk Sports Talk, not only do you get breaking news, you learn new phrases. Reverse boycott. If anybody's out there within the sound of my voice and you want to do a reverse boycott to my Cash App, you can do it now. Because of reverse boycott, you said the ticket prices went up, and I'm gonna show you. We gonna go buy all. We gonna sell out. Reverse boycott me anytime you want. That's all I'm saying. I'll give you my Cash App, man. But that is interesting that Oakland is losing yet another team. And Vegas, man, with the Raiders going there, it's going to be a hotbed. They're going to get several teams. Very good story. My Ball Hawk spotlight moment is coming from the world of football. And I say it that way because I don't mean that Neanderthal stuff we was talking about before NFL. I mean football, what we call soccer. The Neanderthals in this world, we call it soccer. The rest of the world calls it football. The Nations League semi-game had the United States against Mexico, and they don't like each other. As a soccer world, they don't like each other. It looks like just as a nation, like I didn't realize we had that type of beef with Mexico, but that game had not one, not two, not three, but 4 red cards. Now, the Mexican team, who cares? They got their red cards because it was obvious very early that they were overmatched. But the American team lost 2 of its best players that won't advance to the finals of this Nation League championship. So egg is on their face. In addition, the game was stopped in the 98th minute because the Mexican fan base started chanting homophobic slurs, which they have been warned about time and time again. They literally just threw the table over. It were a lot of tackles that were illegitimate. It was physical, and it was, I think, a bloodbath when it comes to nation building. If we had any chance of really being a nation builder when it comes to Mexico, it was squandered by that game. And so we will be playing, the United States will be playing in the Nations League finals without 2 of their best players because of the red cards. All right. They'll be balling on the beach. This has been the Ballin' on the Beach episode as I prepare to get down to Miami and see all of these young people under the tournament name of Ballin' on the Beach. Thousands and thousands of kids in the convention center flying in from all around the country. I'm always amazed to see I won't call it exploitation. I'll just say the commercialization of youth sports. And this is sort of one of the biggest events when it comes to youth basketball. But like we do, we were able to tie it into sports, business, and entertainment. Like we do, we were able to, in advance of official summer, we were able to bring sunshine and heat to your life. It's been a great week of sports. It's been a great week of business. It's been a great week of entertainment. But most importantly, it's been a great week of Ball Hawk Sports Talk. This has been the Ball on the Beach episode. We ask you kindly to like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. The whole crew was in the building. We had the Big Flow Show coming to you from the Mid-Coast. He did his thing as always, while giving me a few jabs as always. We had ETP in the building. He came to you supporting, celebrating, and embracing everything Boston, but he does what he does on this show. And I am your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. The Ball, a.k.a. The Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy. This has been the Ballin' on the Beach episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. We appreciate your support. We know that you're going to like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody you know, and subscribe. And we know that you'll be back next week. And then we pray that you have a fabulous, safe weekend. Happy Father's Day to our entire crew, ETP, Big Flow Show, and myself. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, whether you have birthed your own children, whether you're a coach as a father figure, whether you're a mentor, whether you are a stepdad. Happy Father's Day. Don't settle for that little cold piece of chicken and some socks. You make sure that you celebrate Father's Day like we do them other holidays. All right. With that, we is out. Peace.